Welcome to season 2 of Money on the Rocks. We are on the way. In today's episode, we have Brian with Train to Transfer, where we talk about developing athletes and making sure that they're prepared into going, whether it's pro career, college career, and etc.
My name is Brian Cao. I'm the owner of T3 Performance. It stands for Train to Transfer, and I'm a sports performance coach. Consider myself a human performance coach. Works on the mental, physical, and spiritual side of sports performance. And I've been doing this for about a decade now. I reside in Long Island.
This is your own gym that you own. You've had this for a while. You work with a lot of pro athletes. You work with younger kids, you work with guys in college, and you work with guys at the pro level. So how has that life been for you, training from the ground up, or maybe even seeing the young kids that you have trained going to college and becoming, college athletes? So how's that life been like behind the scenes?
I mean, it's been a blessing taking athletes from point A to point B. And that in itself can be defined any way we want it to be. Point A to point B is whatever vision that an athlete typically walks in with and we work on together and collaborate with. It's been an absolute blessing taking, whether it's a young kid or a pro athlete, and making a vision become a reality.
Nice. So today's episode, we did some background work. We're in with some guys playing for the Summer League, 2024 Summer League. So let's focus on that for a little bit. 1.2, there's a statistic out there, 1.2 college players transition into that pro level, right? So
1.2%?
1.2% transition into that pro level. So how has that strength training been for you, like working with these guys and transitioning and making sure that they're performing well on the court, but it all starts here? So what are the steps that you've taken to make sure that the guys perform off the court translates to the basketball world when they get on the field, on the court, I should say?
Okay. So the first thing we got to do is not think about that 1.2% too much.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's called the dream.
Yeah, mentally.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the reality is it's very tough. And there has to be a blueprint that we wholeheartedly feel confident in attaching ourselves to during this time to make that dream a reality. So when it comes to translating anything that goes on in here to out there, has to be a collaborative effort. Work directly with the skills coaches, typically. Anyone in their team, whether it's an agent, whether it's a chef, whether it's a nutritionist, the first thing I want to do is get involved and imprint strength training into their schedule at a very strategic way. Meaning, we're going to sit down, most likely go over the schedule, how much time they have between sessions, what time they're eating, what time they're not eating, what their travel schedule looks like. Right? Some guys are coming here 45 minutes traveling wise to get to a session, so can we make enough room so that their skill sessions are at the optimal performance? Taking in all those factors enables us to translate everything we do out there on the court. So we start with that first and foremost.
Got it.
Exercise-wise, we want to listen to their body first and foremost, and listen to what they think is best for themselves. At the end of the day, their opinion of what is going to help them achieve that quote-unquote best performance is something that we need to really take into account. They're out there performing, and we're in the background making those dreams a reality. So then from there, once we listen to them, we have to listen to their body. Someone might come in and say, I want to jump X amount higher, I want to get quicker off the ground. But maybe they have a partially torn tendon, patella tendon, or they have knee tendonitis, jumper's knee. We have to listen to their body, take the preventative measures or strategic measures to make sure that we can still move 100% in that direction while addressing what the body's speaking to us. So in a way, they have their own vision. Their body has a vision of its own, and we have to sit down and collaborate and work on, okay, this is where we are, and this is how we're going to get there. So in order to do that, it's all a lot of listening.
Got it. And you mentioned it takes a village, right? And it's the work behind the scenes that translates into the on-court performance. So not just training. You mentioned you need to have a conversation with the chef, with the skills coach, in order to make sure everything that we're doing is aligned towards that specific person's goal in order to get them to where they're looking for. And I think that's huge. And on the back end, off camera, we've had conversation, injury prevention or injury recovery, helping the guys recover from injury. And when we look at basketball, for example, which the session we did around today was centered around that, based on statistics, it's the sport that most people get injured in.
Really?
Right? So when we're looking at it, we've seen career-ending injuries before, right? Or guys that got hurt and never really performed the same. Like we have guys like Greg Oden or Brendan Roy, and guys who had great upside potential, but unfortunately they were hurt. So we've also seen on the other side of it, guys who got hurt and rehab and came back and performed better, right? Like Kevin Durant, for example, right? With his torn Achilles, that's the first thing I could think of at the top of my head. So what does that look like for you behind the scenes when you're working with the guys that come in and they might be hurt, and they're trying to recover to either get a contract, right, to play and get a contract, or in certain cases, make a team going into the league?
Injuries are always complex because an injury typically has a past and a present. It didn't arise most times out of nowhere.
Right.
So getting to know an injury means you have to get to know the person and their past. That's not an always easy process. So our best method of action when it comes to injuries is, like I said, getting to know their past, how things came about, so that we can know how we can steer their future course or present course when it comes to that injury. Building confidence is going to be huge there. So it comes down to simple communication. This is what we should expect. This is what we should not expect. Once you tell someone that, it becomes a lot easier because pain might not go right away.
Right.
But if we're able to communicate with the athlete, clear expectations and clear boundaries in terms of what we're trying to accomplish with injury, we'll slowly work our way towards being injury-free.
On the court while performing, because when an athlete gets into that space, they're gonna perform, right? For example, when, I'll just give an example. When we talk about Kevin Durant, one of my favorite players, he had a strained calf, right? But they had a big game. They were down in the finals, and he wanted to make an impact, as he should. And he gets into the game, and he said this, he's shooting and etc. And then as he gets going into the game, he starts to try to move freely, and then torn Achilles, right? So is that something that you let them know, like, hey, you can't try this move, or you should focus on maybe being more of a shooter this game, and instead of trying to drive to the basket and to prevent you from getting hurt a bit more, and then now you're out for the rest of the season, or now you're out for the rest of the summer league season, and the chance of getting a contract has lessened. Is that something that you guys discuss as well?
Yeah, that's definitely a fine line of discussion that I tread carefully, because on one side you want to facilitate confidence, the confidence that you built through training, and at the same time you want to, for example, in that case, if you feel strongly about something, you must speak the truth. And if the truth is, hey, I not even suggest, but I don't think this is a good idea, then it must be said. Because in a case like Kevin Durant, again, it's much easier said than done, and hindsight's 20/20. But if you feel strongly about something, and sometimes we can, as coaches, recognize, okay, hey, this guy's complaining about knee pain, and we're pushing it. And he's got a game tonight, or he's got a pro run tonight, and then practice, 2-hour practice, and we have legs on the menu. Is that the most smart thing? Well, if I stick to the game plan, then we just continue and see what happens. If I feel strongly that this is not going to facilitate better performance from us and continue us in the trajectory where we want to be on, then I must speak the truth and tell him or him or her, this is not the direction we want to go in, and we need to find a plan B for today, for tomorrow, for the week, whatever that time frame may be.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that we have constant discussions on, and they start as micro discussions, and they can build if necessary.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense, because like we said, right, when you get into the action of the game, it's just from being a hooper, it's like, I got to get going, right?
Yeah.
But like you mentioned, you don't want to stunt the confidence of the person going
Right.
into a game and then telling them something that now they got to, be cautious, because people still want to be able to move freely as they play. Maximizing schedules in the off season for your athletes, how does that look like?
It can really range depending on who it is. And if we're talking about certain pro athletes that fly in from different states, then we try to coordinate with location, Airbnbs, hotels, provide a whole environment for them to succeed. But typically, coordinating schedules is keeping that internal environment for the athlete on the least amount of decisions possible and least stress as possible, and just ease of life. So anything that we set up, like I spoke about earlier, in terms of traffic being measured out, distance to food, because that includes a 10, 15, 20, 30-minute window depending on where we're placing them,
Right.
or whether they have to bring their own meal. Everything is optimized and tailored to the detail if you're talking about the pro level. And if you're talking about the high school level or youth level, it's just really honing on that discipline of timing and knowledge, making sure that you apply the knowledge. Okay, I know I'm supposed to have a protein shake, so make sure you have one at some point throughout the day. Once you can show up there, then we can get a little more detailed with it, and then work on timing and distance to this place or that place, and have a better option. So just peeling back the depths of layers that we're attacking as the level increases. Okay. So the purpose of the banded exercise
With the leg, with the knee.
off the ankle actually.
With the ankle.
Yeah, so that was pulling his ankle upwards into dorsiflexion, and then he was pushing down to plantar flexion. So one, I was working on alignment and making sure that we're focused on creating that drive and tension through the upper ankle right here.
Got it.
The reason being is he's had a ton of knee pain throughout the end of the season, going to off season on the left side, and a sprained ankle that he's played through, right? So because of that, compensation occurs, different angles and different positions happen to create the same force. So what we noticed is, especially on landing and jumping, he was taken off because of the sprained ankle and knee pain. To protect, as a protective mechanism, he was taken off on every single jump with his toe flexed down going into takeoff. Now we don't want that. We want dorsiflexion going to takeoff so that once you go step down,
It could explode up.
explode up properly without letting the knee travel forward and continue taking force. Where he was doing this, here, 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 we had him get to here, here, up. So as you can see, the leg comes up as one. Once the leg comes up as one, things can flow. And you don't have, one, that's not a flow right there.
Got it.
Everything's moving in different parts.
Got it.
And eventually, what that does is it creates more pressure in one segment of the body when the whole body should be used as one.
Got it.
Or that whole limb should be used as one.
So let me ask you this. There was another exercise that you did, well, two more. We did the box jump where they were jumping off one leg, and then you guys did the dunking exercise, 10 straight dunks. From what you just explained, it seems like it's all tied in. Is that all tied? Is that the whole purpose?
Yeah, it's basically layered coaching.
Yeah.
What I call it, or what we call it in this industry, right? So you take the awareness at that level. He's focused, doing slow reps, controlled, emotional attunement as well to how it should feel, how it shouldn't feel. There's frustration comes in, there's a lot of emotion that come in that you have to kind of like control and discipline.
Yeah.
Then you take that into the next level, which is you start to add, a different component to it, different planes of motion, and then you add a reactive component. Then you're going to like a box jump where you can't really think about that ankle. It has to become a little subconscious. So we're moving through the different levels of learning, subconscious, unconscious, conscious learning, really fast. Because these guys are pros and they have such great awareness and attunement, they can pick it up within, like you said, within a 30-minute session.
Right.
Like that's incredibly fast. Then we bring it out to the court.
To the real
we
game.
did a very tough drill. That's anyone can try it themselves, which is basically a minute straight of dunking baseline to baseline, no missteps, no extra steps. And from there, you're unconsciously working on your footwork. You're letting everything that we just worked on become second nature.
Got it. And you're pretty much subconsciously applying everything we just did, but now we got it on the court now.
Yeah.
In game situation.
Yeah.
Got it.
And especially with conditioning and fatigue set in, can we make sure that these exercises and what we're trying to accomplish, or the adaptations that we're looking to strive for, can they stand the test of the rigors of a live game or a stressful situation?
Got it. No,
And today we made that happen. So they walked out confident. I walked out happy, and I think things are
especially
okay.
They're heading into a big part of their careers, man. It's very important.
Yep.
So that's even me. I'm more amazed because watching it. I'm thinking it's a normal stretch. I had a torn meniscus. I'm thinking we're just doing normal stretches, but like you mentioned, it's layered. So one component leads to the next component, and we transition that into the end game, which gives them that confidence. Okay, cool. I could step and not have to worry about anything.
And you have two different athletes there, right? You have Jared. You'll see Jared. If you look at the videos, you're gonna see some bad reps in there with the toes down. If you can comb through, there's some of the reps. And when Jared has his toes down, he's gonna get a lot of knee flexion upon landing, right? So he's got a lot of knee pressure there. Chase, on the other hand, his toes are down. He doesn't have much knee flexion. He's naturally a little bit tighter in the hips. So he's gonna sit back more like this. So he's gonna get a lot of hip flexion. Therefore, he's going to feel a lot more tightness in his hip. So we have to address that in Chase. Where Jared, we have to address his ankle and
the knees.
knee landing mechanics.
Got it.
So if you see a lot of bad reps in there, you'll see you might see him make a face, and you'll see his knee overextend, and he kind of looks like he gets stuck for a second, and then he bounces out. On the good reps, it looks effortless. He looks like he just flows down. Might look like LeBron-esque where he comes down, and then as soon as he comes down, he steps into the next step. So you basically take that pressure of that one foot, and you just divvy it into the next step. And because of that, it kind of transfers over and it smooths out.
Got it.
So that force isn't stuck in the body, into the limbs, into the joints.
It's all an art, man.
Yeah,
it's all an art. So you doing that is amazing work, and it's good to see. So you guys just got some deep knowledge, man, because I didn't know it, and I've been working out here for the longest. So that's Brian. That's his world. Is there anything you would like to say to anybody, man, before we wrap up this episode?
Well, if you guys got to look at the episode and see some behind the scenes work with two of our loyal pro guys who have their own stories and their own journeys, and for lack of a better word, if you want to say, like, they're not supposed to be here, right? They beat the odds, 1.2%.
Yeah.
You're not that different. You're not that different. I mean, the workout itself is things you could execute on your own. The level of detail, the level of focus, the level of desire dictates more than you would imagine. So in the course of this workout, something you guys can maybe be mindful of is look how intensely focused they are on every single rep. And the difference between a pro that makes it and maybe someone who doesn't make it is the difference of amount of reps. In the course of today's workout, we might have had 300 reps, and they might have missed maybe 10 of them. Now you add that over the course of the week, it's a very low percentage. You're not that far.
You're demanding those guys to give it their best is because you give them your best. And as you know, part of the relationship, they return that. So that being said, man, Train to Transfer, C3 Performance. We're wrapping up season 2, episode 1 of season 2. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. And this one should really be fun. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So, Brian, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.